2020 is about to be a lit year, okay? I know the year started off kind of bad and has continued to be kind of bad. It's August now, it's more than half the year. But you know what I mean? It's like 2020 is gonna be like one of those 2-hour movies that is like shit at the beginning, shit at the middle, but has like really cool action scenes at the end, so it ends kind of cool, and you walk out the cinema only remembering the last like 20 to 30 minutes going, oh, that movie was actually kind of cool. Shit's picking up. Like, we got the Crash Bandicoot game coming out like in October. Like, the year's picking up. Now we've got new shit that suggests that 2020, at least the last 3 months that were going to be the only months we choose to remember, obviously, we've got some evidence to suggest that maybe 2020 is about to be goated. Okay, so we're going to get into this right now because this needs to be talked about. We already know Ubisoft have been neglecting Prince of Persia like a child who's been adopted into a family that has biological kids. What the fuck am I saying? I don't know. But they've been neglecting Prince of Persia, saying that it was on hiatus and, you know, they were taking a break from it to come back later and shit like that, while they were pumping out Assassin's Creed games every year like it was their money maker. Well, it is their money maker, but you know what I mean, they milked it. Like, I mean, I love Assassin's Creed, specifically the Ezio trilogy, but they need to get back to the goated franchises. Okay, Assassin's Creed, the Ezio trilogy is goated, but they need to get back to a truly goated franchise, which is Prince of Persia. And based on this rumor, we may be getting that. So let's just get right into this motherfucker. It says, hey, psst, Prince of Persia Remake listings have appeared online. For now, the game is listed for Nintendo Switch and PS4 with an estimated release date of November 2020. Which, if it's really coming out then, I'm surprised they're not going to put it on next gen. I mean, I guess PS5 is backwards compatible, but I still think they'll make something for PS5. Nonetheless, you can see a Prince of Persia image there and an image of a store, but if you click the link, we can see it in detail. Now, it's from some Spanish website that says Maximizamos tu vida, short for Max, translate it. And we can see two things here: PS4 Prince of Persia Remake and Nintendo Switch Prince of Persia Remake, with the Switch version costing more. That's how you know it's real. I'm joking. Okay, but Switch be charging way too much for shit at times, but let's keep going. So you can see here details, specifications, and commentary. There's not really much here to look at, just November 2020 and an image of Prince of Persia, which I feel like this is an old image. It probably is. And the same applies for the Switch one. You know, difference is the higher price, but yeah, again, November 2020. I'm assuming they wouldn't neglect Xbox, but I mean, you never know. Now, I mean, rumors like this happen all the time, so we don't really know if it's going to be real. But nonetheless, it is interesting to see this because they have abandoned Prince of Persia for a decade, so it would be nice to actually see them do something with it. But the question that is on everyone's mind is, it just says Prince of Persia Remake. There's not only one Prince of Persia game. Which game are they remaking? So we have to figure that out, which we can't actually do, so we're going to speculate. Now, this is the list of all the Prince of Persia video games. Now, you have to remember that it doesn't actually say which company is involved in this remake. I know a lot of people think Ubisoft kind of own Prince of Persia. They do make a lot of Prince of Persia games, but they don't actually own the IP, which is kind of weird like that, which is probably why they like Assassin's Creed so much, because they own it and get all the moolah. But they don't own Prince of Persia, so there is a possibility that it's just a remake of the original one, which, let's be fair, who wants that? I mean, I'm not saying I dislike the original. I had that shit on Nokia, like Nokia phone, color Nokia phone. I used to play the original Prince of Persia. It was ported to that, and it was lit. Like, it was like a blue and orange phone. Like, some of you were younger than the phone. Let's be real. No offense. Could there be Prince of Persia 2 or Prince of Persia 3? I don't think so. Okay, so what I'm thinking it is, right, is the Ubisoft trilogy on PS2, and that's the Sands of Time, Warrior Within, and the Two Thrones. These three here by Ubisoft Montreal. If it is a Ubisoft remake, I would assume they would take the trilogy, remake it into one package like everyone's doing nowadays, like Crash and Spyro, and are those the only two that done? Tony Hawk did one as well. Yeah, do something like those three and put them on next gen hardware, or current gen, because PS4. I'm assuming PS5 will get an updated version of it, so it doesn't really make a difference, does it? They want to get both generations. If they make it PS5 exclusive, they'll make less money. If they do PS4 on Switch, if it runs on Switch, they get it on PS4 as well. Maybe push for Xbox 2, then they could also get it on Series X, they could get it on PS5. You've got basically all the major consoles covered at that point. And yes, I believe if it is Ubisoft behind this remake, I believe this is what's gonna happen. It's gonna be the trilogy, because that's like the most acclaimed Prince of Persia like games, I'm assuming, like, because I haven't played all of those three. Like, I'm a huge Prince of Persia fan, but I didn't have those games on PS2 because, you know, I didn't get that many games as a kid. And I did actually buy them on Steam, but they have they like those old PC ports with horrible controller support. So I played like 7 hours or so of Sands of Time, and I think I reinstalled Windows and all my controller settings were fucked. And it's one of those controller setting games, like the old ones, where if it says, if I map, say, X to maybe Q on the keyboard, it will still tell me in the game, like, press Q to do this, and I have to remember what I mapped Q to. It's really old. That's why I haven't finished that trilogy. But the games themselves look really good based on the footage and based on the hours I played of Sands of Time, and to have that remade in modern day graphics really makes a lot of sense. So I'm sticking with that. Now, there's a bunch of other games here. For those of you who don't follow Prince of Persia, let me just save you the energy, because these are main titles. This is a PSP game, so we're not counting that. It's not going to be that. It's not going to be Rival Swords. Prince of Persia Classic is actually a remake of the original. So for them to remake the original again, I just feel like that's milking it. And the 2008 Prince of Persia reboot is not as well liked as the original trilogy, so for them to remake that is dumb, so they're not doing that. And the Forgotten Sands is actually one that I've beaten, and I really love this game. It's one of my favorite games of all time, actually. It's such a fun game. But honestly, it came out in 2010, and I don't think it needs a remake, because I replayed it on my current PC, which is running games at 4K 60 FPS, and it mostly still holds up. I mean, I guess it could do some touching up, like a remaster, those of you who know the difference between a remake and a remaster. But a full-blown remake for Forgotten Sands, I think, is overkill. So I don't think it will be that. What's this Dagger of Time PlayStation VR? I have never heard of that. Is that out yet? Like, I don't know. Editor's note, as you can tell, because I still got the headphone dent in my hair from the editing. But actually, this was rumored before, earlier in the year, back in April, which basically adds more fuel to the fire that it is in fact the Sands of Time trilogy from PS2, because based on this article, they're saying holiday 2020, and the image that we saw in this article was apparently concept art for the remake that was leaked as part of this rumor. So it really is looking like it could be the Sands of Time trilogy. There's no smoke without fire, right? Plus, as they said in the article, it said the uptick in activity by Ubisoft when it comes to the Prince of Persia franchise, which they're talking about the fact that there was a Forerunner crossover with Prince of Persia. It is looking good for this rumor. The best thing is honestly to remake the trilogy. It's so acclaimed, it will do so well. To see those PS2 games come back to life with, you know, 4K, it was on PS4, so fake 4K, hopefully 60 FPS, and then obviously on PS5 actually get real 4K 60 FPS. To be able to play those games in that level of fidelity, it's gonna be goated. And of course, once it gets the rave reviews that we'll get, because let's be honest, Prince of Persia is amazing, then they're gonna have to make an original title that will come out on PS5 and Series X and whatever new hardware Nintendo's putting out, and Prince of Persia will be back, and 2020s will be a decent decade, essentially, because that's what we need. Like, I know they listened to my video, that video I made where I ranted about the Prince of Persia Redemption leak, which was a cancelled Prince of Persia game, which probably only got cancelled so they could focus on Assassin's Creed some more. But, you know, I'm just glad that Prince of Persia is getting that love again. Let's just hope this isn't some fake shit, and that, you know, we get this, and we can see the renaissance that Crash has had, but now we can see it with Prince of Persia. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this. Are you looking forward to a potential renaissance of one of the GOATed franchises of all time? But yeah, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell. More content coming soon to the channel. But it's your boy, PREMulous, Rem Gang. And I'm out. Prince of Persia Clash. Prince of Persia Clash. Prince of Persia.